My name's Steve Watkins. This is 1952 Ford 8N. When I purchased it, it did not run, which didn't matter because I was going to do away with the engine anyhow. I purchased the 8N, the V8 from Summit Racing. There's a company in Ohio called Awesome Henry. They make the adapter plate, cradle, and all the things that are needed to put a V8 in it. Over a course of a couple of years, I built it. After completing it, I started trying to decide what I wanted the color to be. I went back and forth with different colors that I liked. I got to thinking about our country and our soldiers that gave their life. So I wanted to honor those soldiers with this paint scheme. It has the bald eagle on the roof, God Bless America on the side. If you notice on the rear, it has a Purple Heart. That Purple Heart is for the soldiers that they did give it all. They gave life and limb. The other side has a Marine handing out a folded flag. Our flag is so disrespected these years, and it's the inscription below it says, "Those who disrespect our flag have never been handed a folded one." People have really liked it because it does honor our soldiers.
Well, these were developed for farming, is what they were developed for, to pull plows. And of course, then they used the belt drive on them, pull sawmills and thrashers. They had done a lot of thrashing back in them days. And this was a tractor that they had before we had late model tractors. So they run off of steam, and you can farm with wood or coal. And it don't matter, but you got to have that and water. And basically, that's their steam engine, that's what. And then, of course, I think they had railroad engines before they had tractor engines, but this was a tractor, and they used some of them on the road to pull wagons with, and they call them steam locomotives. Is why a lot of people call these trains, but they're not trains. They were tractors, you know. This was all they had for a tractor to pull anything with. So
when I know that sometimes when people find these, some parts they've had to make and things like that. When you guys found this and worked on the restoration process, what condition was it in? And
well, this one wasn't in too bad a condition. We got it at that Rhonda sale, I think it was. Rhonda at Minnesota.
In 2004.
Yeah, and Joe Rhonda, he gathered steam engines after World War II, and he had a collection, and we got this one up there. We really didn't have to do a whole lot to restore it. It's pretty well ready to go. But yeah, if they need anything, you either got to make it, and the boilers is the biggest problem, keeping them up, patching them or whatever, to keep them up to par to where they're safe to run. But the rest of it is not that bad. And of course, like you can build nearly anything you need for them, right? Pretty easy. Get a machine shop to do it if you can't do it yourself.
so I see it takes a lot of work to keep one just running and moving.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, like when you get one, you probably got to build your own top to go on it, because it's probably no good, and your water tanks are probably no good. So you got to make water tanks like on the back of that. This one's pretty well original, but we made the water tank to go up in the original, but it still looks just like it come here. Most of these around here's got water tanks on them that's been built later. They wasn't built on them. So. And then you have to put tubes in them. They got tubes running through that boiler for the fire to go through, and the water's around it, and they call that a fire tube boiler, and they have to be replaced about every 15 years. This one here is right about the last ones they made. It's a 23 model, but they went on back in the early 1900s, and actually they built some in the 1800s, but not much. It was just very little. They was experimenting then. So by the time we got to building them like this, I really don't know what year it was. It was the early 1900s. And J.I. Case is the one that built these here, the Case engines, but he, I guess, sold more engines than anybody, because he made them faster or cheaper or whatever, and I think they financed them. They didn't plow with them in this part of the country, but they used that belt to pull the sawmill with. There's a lot of sawmilling done with them, because they had to have a power unit, and they wasn't available, and thrashing. There wasn't much thrashing done in this part of the country with a steam engine, but there's some. But sawmilling is the biggest thing these is used for in this part of the country. But up north and west, they plowed lots with them out there. They'd have 5 or 6 of them, one right behind the other. Because the fields are so long, you couldn't see the other end of them, and it'd take them forever to work a field with one engine. Then the first tractors, gas tractors and things, looked a lot like this, but they were gas instead of steam.
like that. Do that. Thanks
You get what you.
My name is Francis Gabay. I'm from Woodstock, Georgia, and these are some of my items here. This is a 32 Pontiac, one of two left in North America. It is all an original, matching numbered car. I picked it up about 5 years ago. One of my neighbors does grandfather clocks, and he saw it in a garage, and I left work straight away and just went there and bought it. So, and it had it ever since. Always collected cars, but by far this is my favorite out of all my cars. And it'll actually run about 65 miles an hour. So it's pretty fast. I was told that that is a Corvette red, but I'm not for certain. It was already painted when I got it. It's a 32 Pontiac Chief. Where it's different is, for example, in 32 there were over 2 million Fords, where in 32 in Pontiac there was only 1,500. So 2 million, 1,500. So it's got a lot of the little engraving and the bells and whistles you don't see in normal cars. I went with the Yellowstone theme just because the yellow wheels were very unique. I tried to keep it really period correct. I originally got involved in these engines as a hobby. I saw one and I decided to get one. Well, the one I got, we could never get it running. And then I started a crusade to buy them already running and go ahead and get paint jobs for all the ones that ran. I gave it my accents, different things like dynamite sticks and cherries. These are really unique. This one came off of a Navy ship. It's a compressor head for the for air. And I pretty much put the steam involved. And I have a friend that makes these lamps, these bulbs. So I thought it was a good, unique way to bring all these different pieces together and involve and incorporate it into something you could put in your house.